The Royals are bringing back the full powder blue look for the entire season. What do we think of it? We'll tell you in this edition of Locked On Royals.
You are Locked On Royals, your daily Kansas City Royals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are tuned into another edition of Locked On Royals on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter or X at JohnnyJ_15, and you can catch us on wherever you listen to your podcast. That can be Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, we're on Odyssey and YouTube. Just be sure to hit the follow button and subscribe. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first order. If you are one of those first-time listeners and you want to know about me, you want to know about how this show is run, well, we bring you 5 episodes a week, and then on Friday, it's dedicated to you, the listener. You send in a question via YouTube or you do it through X, and I will be sure to get to every single one of them. What's ever on your mind about these Kansas City Royals who begin the regular season next Thursday against the Cleveland Guardians. And if you need to know my line of work, I'm based here in Kansas City. I work at Sports Radio 810 WHB, doing a variety of things over there. But when it comes to this podcast, when you click on this link, you know that you're going to be getting 30 straight minutes of Royals baseball. To kick off today's show, not so much about the team itself or a roster move that we expect to happen or a free agent that's still out there. We'll save that for the final 2 segments of today's show. This is more so for the fun of it, which is that the Royals are finally, it's taken them this long, but finally bringing back the full powder blue look for the entire season. Not just on opening day, not just for some select game against the Cardinals. Every Saturday home game this year, the Royals are going to be breaking out the full powder blue look, jump back in time, use the retro logo, which is just phenomenal. It's going to be on the hat, and it's going to be on the helmets as well. Has the blue kind of on the back of the hat and the helmet, and then it's a white front with the logo right there. But it looks damn sharp. And this was a long time coming. I never truly understood why the Royals couldn't do this look. It's iconic for them. We had seen the Blue Jays pull off this look, the full powder blue. We have seen, I even want to say the Dodgers had some form of a jersey that was a full powder blue look. The Cubs did it as well. And you're thinking that the Cubs don't wear powder blue that much. Like the Royals had that as their uniform back when they were dominating or up near the top of the American League. It always baffled me that the Royals didn't want to pull from that era and say, when we wear our powder blue top, we're just wearing the powder blue pants. And yes, there's that issue or there's the problems when it comes with, companies that are representing the team and their uniforms, with New Era and stuff like that, in college basketball, college football, whether you be Athletic or Adidas, you have teams that have ugly uniforms and fans will say, well, why don't you just wear the old uniforms? Why don't you wear this uniform with this font? And there's always some hang up there. It never made sense to me, though, when teams are changing jerseys. In fact, here locally, like Kansas and Missouri pulled from the past a little bit. Kansas went back to their circus font. Missouri went back to their older school look where they've got the yellow jerseys and they've got the big block M with Missouri across their chest. It looks very sharp. I'm a fan of both looks of those uniforms. And the fans go, well, why wasn't that the last couple of years? Why did you ever change? And they've always got their reasons for changing. And I do believe the Royals have incredibly sharp uniforms. I even love the little rebrand they did a few years back where they've got Kansas City across their chest in the gray and in the blue. I will say that I do miss the road grays with the cursive. That's just what they had for so many years, and I thought it looked sharp. But I also don't hate the uniforms they have now. I do believe that they go well with the logo. I believe they look good with the QT patch. They had those years with the blue uniforms that had Royals across the chest in the same way they did for their home whites. Then they went with the Royals crown logo just on the blue uniform, simplified it a little bit. There were the years with the powder blue uniforms and the powder blue hat, which I know a few people that liked it, a few people that didn't like it. You go back to the mid 2000s, those black uniforms with the blue cursive Royals across the chest. They had the vests where you had the white tank top and the blue undersleeve. That was not a good look at all, in my opinion. You had those futuristic uniforms, the gold yellowish look. Those were ugly as hell. And the Royals tried to do it again against Seattle in 2018. Those looked a little bit better. They should never be worn. This is the one, though, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. This is the look that every Royals fan unanimously agrees is the best look. It just is, whether it be nostalgia or it be the powder blue. I, for one, am a sucker for powder blue. You have the Carolina blue in college. I think it looks so sharp. Why? Because powder blue goes really well with white. It just does, in my opinion. So the Royals have the full powder blue look and then Royals written across the chest in white. And you have the little Royals crown logo, I believe, on the sleeve, or at least it used to be, or might be on the pants. But overall, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. And it's the perfect time to do it, really. You know, they had debuted this 2 years ago because the Royals wore it on opening day. And then I want to say did it one other time against the Yankees that year. Last year, they didn't do it on opening day. And I want to say they brought it back for the Cardinals series, which is fine. I understand why you do it for the Cardinals series. You want to look back on 1985, but it wasn't just that Royals team in 85. There were other teams that wore the powder blue. And I would still love for them to have the powder blue look where you have the Kansas City written across the chest. Like, if you're going to have the grays, the road grays, and the road blues for those Sunday afternoon games, I always thought you need to put this uniform in the rotation where it is an every week occurrence, whether it be a home game or a road game. We know that for road games during the day, they're going to wear those blues. We know that night road games, they're going to wear the grays. Home games, when it's a night game or maybe a late afternoon game, they wear the home whites. If it's a day game, Sunday afternoon game, they're wearing the powder blue. Now, what's great about this for a home series, if you're going Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you get the home whites. Then on Saturday, in fact, I take that back. The City Connect uniforms is what they're going to wear on Fridays. So those look really sharp. Everybody seems to have fallen in love with that. So you get Friday night with the City Connect uniform. Saturday, you would have the full powder blue look. And then Sunday, I would imagine they would still wear the powder blue top with the white pants. So home weekend series, they're going to look sharp the entire time. That's what a lot of teams in baseball get, and they understand. And it is humorous that we're talking about what players are wearing as a factor to go to the games. Like, for a lot of people, they don't care. They are not going to care whether the Royals wear white or they're going to wear blue or they're going to wear gray or they're going to wear powder blue. I get it. We're all there for the game, right? But some people, they want that extra incentive. Oh, they're wearing the powder blues today. I'm going to go to the ballpark. It is a marketing strategy, and that's what I'm tying in here. You know, there are college teams out there. Oregon, I know we've had this college spin for this opening segment. Oregon wears a lot of different uniforms, and I would imagine if you talk to an Oregon fan, I mean, they've got it down. Which games they wear which uniforms for, or when you see in basketball they're debuting a new look or they're going with a retro look for that game, you want to go. You're excited to watch that because you don't get to see them wear that uniform that often. For the Royals, that was the powder blue look. It is a great marketing strategy, and the Royals have done it well now the last 2 years. The City Connect uniforms, the powder blue. One of the people that believes the QT patch does look good. You need that more so for money, and QT is a great company to work with. Everybody loves QT. At least I've never met somebody that didn't like a QT. But these uniforms, now we know, are going to be on Saturdays. I got asked this question on Twitter of, are they going to wear it on opening day? I'm leaning no, because last year I thought they were going to wear it on opening day. They didn't. They wore white uniforms. And then I don't believe they wore it until the Cardinals series. This year, I expect the same. They'll wear the white uniforms on opening day. And then since that Saturday is game 2 of the season, that's when they're going to wear them. It'll be an afternoon game. Seth Lugo is going to get the ball. Should be great. And hopefully good weather all week long for those 3 games. But yeah, it's a great thing to do for Royals fans, whether it be older generation or new. It brings a new element to Saturday games. There are people, I know a lot of people that go, oh, I love going to Fridays because they wear those City Connect uniforms. It's not the reason they buy the ticket. It's just an added bonus. Now you have 3 different uniforms for all 3 games over the weekend. You already know you're going to be having a lot of fans in attendance for some of those games. Might as well hammer in the point of, oh, it's a Saturday home game. They're wearing those uniforms. It's smart to do. I'm glad it wasn't, hey, they're going to bring them back. We just don't know when we're going to use them. No, they have circled that Saturday home games. The all powder blue look will be there for the Royals. And then Sunday, you'll have the powder blue with the white pants. Friday, unless I'm mistaken here, they're still going to wear the City Connect uniforms. I know that some teams have dropped them or you can only wear them for a handful of years. If you do know the true answer, I just haven't looked it up just yet. Let us know in the YouTube comments below. Okay, we're going to take our first break of the show. When we come back, you want to know why Alex Verdugo hasn't signed with a team yet? Because I know some Royals fans are wondering, why not Verdugo for the outfield depth? Well, it's because he hasn't received a single big league offer. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Royals. You are tuned into Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter or X at JohnnyJ_15. Want to give a shout out to a few sponsors, beginning with Just Ingredients. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with 2-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. Visit justingredients.us/Bryce Harper and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. Again, that's LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. Also want to tell you about Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all the money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for half off on your first year. So go get started today over at Monarch Money. One of these free agents has been a hot topic, I would say, this offseason when it comes to the Royals. Not so much of the Royals showing interest, but of people who listen to this podcast asking me, why not Alex Verdugo? Another free agent that we've mentioned before, Alex Duvall. Not so much a hot topic, more so of a, we're not giving him the money that he wants. If he's going to retire wanting $3 million, then you can retire and be wishing you had maybe $1 million or $2 million down the road and sign with another team mid-season. But for Alex Verdugo, people have questioned, why is he not getting a deal? He was somebody that wasn't great for the Yankees last year, but you go 2 years ago, he was an above-average hitter. He's a good defender. He's 27, 28 years old. You're telling me that no team in baseball would want to take a chance on Alex Verdugo, a one-year deal for that matter. And this comes from I believe Brendan Cootie, who covers baseball for The Athletic, he actually covers the Yankees, and he had reported yesterday that Alex Verdugo hasn't received a big league contract offer since the end of last season. So we're not talking he hasn't received a deal since the beginning of winter meetings, since the beginning of the new year. He has not received a single big league offer, period. And maybe we take, this reporter's word for it. Maybe we feel it's a bit of a smokescreen that some team out there who's desperate enough throws him a 1-year deal, brings him in for a bounce back year. Or maybe this is the truth, that everybody is just staying away. And my thoughts on it were that he's either asking for too much or he's wanting too many years. Those were the two things. Because that really is the only two things that can prevent a free agent from signing somewhere. Teams are going to hand out deals all the time, whether you be the Los Angeles Dodgers or you're the Miami Marlins. Either not spending anything or you're spending every ounce of your money. You are going to offer up deals to numerous guys usually. And Alex Verdugo felt like that player middle of the offseason that would take a 1-year deal with Miami or would take a 1-year deal with the Rockies or one with the White Sox because none of the top contenders were giving him deals. They didn't view him as a starter. And maybe that's another part to this. Teams are offering him a 1-year deal, but saying, you're not going to start. We're too late into the game right now. Opening day is less than 10 days away. If you're showing up to camp and you're expecting to be the starter, you're going about this all in the wrong way. Because that would be really a bad look on the front office's part if you're bringing in somebody to start without much of a big league camp and you're expecting him to have a bounce back year. That's what's hurt Alex Verdugo here. If you want to get a multiple year deal again, you got to take one of these 1-year deals. You just do. You can't worry about fit. You can't worry about whether you're playing left or right field. At this point, you just have to sign a deal. Because if Alex Verdugo waits, and let's say he signs with a team in June, and he doesn't play well, that's the end. Before his age 30 season, you're not going to get another big league deal. You would have to take a minor league deal and work your way back up, and who knows if that works out. I do believe that it's more than just a bad year, too. There has to be other factors in this. Because as I said, prior to the season in New York, he was fine in Boston. He was fine in LA. He had good seasons before. He was somebody you could trust to play every single day in the lineup. So is it a clubhouse issue? Teams are staying away from it. Is it a hustle issue? We don't want that associated with our team. The negotiation tactics, not very good. Because you look at the Royals right now, I mean, them targeting Alex Duvall over Alex Verdugo shows who they'd be more interested in. They're looking for a bench bat. Maybe Alex Verdugo is not that. And for me, I'm all right with the Royals staying away from it. And it's clear that everybody else in baseball is staying away from it because you got to learn from other teams, in this league. You just do. I feel that front office people do learn from other GMs, other cultures, other owners. Why are they not going for that player? And this might be the easiest answer of them all. If nobody is going for that player, we're not going to be the ones to jump the gun there. There would have to be more interest for you to go, all right, maybe we can entertain that. If other teams are throwing Alex Verdugo 1-year deals and we have an injury in camp, okay, it makes sense. The Royals so far, with a few games to go down in Arizona before they head to Arlington for a 2-game series exhibition at Globe Life Field, well, there's no need to go out there and add an extra outfield bat. There's just, it's not worth it at that point. You are going to play Jonathan India and MJ Melendez and Kyle Isbell and Hunter Renfroe a lot out there. If it's not them in June, it might be Jack Caglione, it might be Gavin Cross. You would have to be very confident that what Alex Verdugo did last year was just a a flash in the pan. It was the one-off. It was the anomaly. And this year, he would have a better chance to really thrive in a bigger park. There's bigger gaps in the outfield. He could handle left field. It made sense a little bit for the Royals because they didn't really have that defined answer in left field. Now with 9 days to go, tell me the benefit of doing it. If we're talking about Alex Verdugo over Joey Weimer or Alex Verdugo over Nelson Velasquez or Nick Pratto or Drew Waters, I hear you. But Alex Verdugo, clearly, if he got that offer, I don't believe would be signing there. I'm not going to go sign somewhere to only play once a week. That's not going to be beneficial to me. The unfortunate part for him is he's not getting any offers, per this reporter. And this late in the game, and that's pretty shocking. That's pretty jarring that a guy that was an everyday player for the American League champion last year is not fielding any offers. That tells me more about the Alex Verdugo sweepstakes here and why maybe the Royals haven't thrown him a deal. We've seen some of these guys waited out. I mean, Mark Canha was somebody I believe was going to get, a couple million. He got a minor league deal from the Brewers. Mark Canha is willing to keep playing and earn a spot in camp. Maybe Alex Verdugo is getting a lot of these minor league deal offers, and that's what I do need to emphasize here. Just said major league offers. There might be some teams, including the Royals, I don't know, that are throwing out minor league offers, and he's not taking them. Well, you might have had your chance to take one back at the beginning of March when, spring training still had numerous weeks to go. If you elected not to take it, now you've screwed yourself. I don't see anybody, unless there was a long-term injury to their left fielder or right fielder, that they're going to give Alex Verdugo that type of deal. So if you're one of those people out there wondering, why have the Royals not offered him? Well, it appears that nobody has offered him a deal, and I don't see one coming about anytime soon. Could always be wrong. We'll see how it plays out with just 9 days to go before Royals opening day. There was the Tokyo series early in the morning. I actually watched a little bit of it. Cubs and Dodgers. Dodgers won 4-1 in that game. Sold out atmosphere. Love how they do it. They do need to promote it a little bit better, though, so everybody in baseball knows when that game will be played. Okay, let's take our final break of the show. When we come back, where does Nick Pratto fit in the Royals organization? He's out of options. Is he a first baseman? Is he an outfielder? Does he make the opening day roster? We'll touch on all of it next on Locked On Royals. You are tuned into Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter or X at JohnnyJ_15. Our last sponsor we want to give a shout out to is Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
For the final segment, let's talk about somebody in the Royals organization that is coming down to the final few opportunities to prove that he is worth a 26-man roster spot. And that's Nick Pratto. And Nick Pratto is somebody that a lot of people in the Royals organization have wanted to work. How could you not? Being a first-round pick, being somebody that was there to almost be the next in line When he was drafted, Eric Hosmer was finishing his final year in Kansas City. You thought, with this kid's Gold Glove defense, a little bit of the power, he should be able to play well in Kansas City. And when he got that opportunity, want to say it was 2022, late 2022. In fact, it was that COVID series in Toronto when all the Royals players that were not vaccinated couldn't travel with the team, and they brought up Pratto, they brought up Massey, they started Serpa, Nate Eaton was called up as well. It was a wild series. And Nick Pratto had moments in 2022. He had the walk-off home run against Boston at Kauffman Stadium. That felt like a very notable moment. And then in 2023, he got off to a phenomenal start. In fact, the Royals were leading him off, if you can go back that far. He was leading off. He was playing first base. He was getting on base at a high clip. He wasn't hitting for much power. He was, not great in the slug department. Still, you were taking that for a young player. It was a bad Royals team. You're taking any little positive movement you have for all those young guys. If you just gave a good month or two, it might be enough for the team to evaluate you for the next year. And like I said, Pratto looked great for a portion in time in 2023, played a little bit of the outfield, showed some of the power, and then bottomed out and was striking out a hell of a lot more than he was in 2022 and the first half of 2023. When that number got to 40%, you can no longer evaluate that player. A 40% strikeout rate is fine for Joey Gallo when you can hit, 450-foot home runs and you might run into 30 to 35 a year. You're going to hit 185, but you can do damage in the power department. And now Joey Gallo is pitching, so that doesn't work anymore. Because if you don't have that power, striking out 35 to 40% of the time, it's just too much. And so then in 2024, we all remember he has the great camp. Dominates in surprise. And the Royals still say, we need to make sure that this was not a fluke. We need to make sure that you can do this in AAA. And he goes down to AAA. The numbers didn't translate. He was still striking out way too much. And the only time he gets to Kansas City was on the mound. He pitched in a blowout game. Never got an at-bat last year. And then when Vinny Pasquantino goes down, who do they call? It wasn't Nick Pratto's cell. It was Yuli Gurriel. And the Royals brought in somebody that hadn't played in the big leagues all year, was hurt, and made him their playoff first baseman. That was maybe the nail in the coffin, if you will. That, to me, was the nail in the coffin. They would rather go get 40-year-old Yuli Gurriel than give Nick Pratto a chance here in a playoff push. They had called up Tyler Gentry. They had called up Nick Lofton again, and it just didn't work out. They went with guys with more experience who had been in the postseason. And then in camp so far, Nick Pratto has not played as well as he did last year. He's playing some outfield, and that can help him. Having that in your back pocket where you can play first base and right field, it helps your chances. And the Royals haven't gotten much from a couple of bench guys in camp. But now that Dairon Blanco is healthy, I have him making the opening day roster. I teased that a little bit yesterday. Didn't think we needed a full segment on it. I have Dairon Blanco on the opening day roster. The speed alone is going to get him there. I still have Kevin Biggio on the roster. Freddie Fermin's making it. So who's that last spot? Is it Nick Lofton? He's played well enough this spring, and he's now healthy again. He can play multiple positions. Nick Pratto can only play two. All right, is it Joey Wiemer? Joey Wiemer's had a fantastic last few games. He went from hitting like 110 to now 285. We're seeing the power. He's hitting the ball hard. That's the Joey Wiemer they wanted to see in camp. It could be Joey Wiemer, though that gives you two outfielders. You might want, two guys on your bench that can play the infield as well. And for Pratto, what can you do? He's certainly surpassed Nelson Velasquez. Velasquez just hasn't done enough in camp. And I still believe Velasquez will be able to clear waivers if he is, cut from the team. If Pratto's cut from the team, does he get picked up? Maybe not. I mean, you look at the strikeout numbers, that's not going to play anywhere. If you're hitting 220, 230, and you're striking out 40% of the time, people are going to need to see a lot more somewhere else. If you're striking out 35% of the time, you better be walking 10% of the time. your slug better be, in the 600s, right? You better be able to do something there where the strikeout number can be pushed away. I don't know if there's a spot in Kansas City for him this year. There are some people that listen to this podcast that are big Nick Pratto fans. I just don't know where it is. I don't know where the fit is going to be. Jack Caglione surpassed him. Gavin Cross has surpassed him. Vinny Pasquantino's the big league first baseman. Hunter Renfroe's in right field. If it's not Renfroe, it's Melendez. If it's not Melendez, it's Gavin Cross or it's Jack Caglione. If you're going to put him on the bench, I got to have more than, he might walk from time to time. The defense with the advanced metrics, it's not that great at first base, and it's definitely not that good in the outfield. He's got limited opportunities left to prove that he is deserving that final spot, and if he's not, somebody's going to have a chance to pick him up, or the Royals might trade him before they would make that roster move. So is Nick Pratto's time in the Royals organization coming to an end, or will he break camp with the team here coming up next week? I guess we'll find out. Well, that'll do it for another edition of Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I've been your host, Jack Johnson. Thank you for making Locked On Royals your first listen today. For your second, check out the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast with hosts Dominic Martino and Matthew Ane. MLB Fantasy Draft season is here. Be the most informed fan and set yourself up for a league win. Find Locked On Podcast on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Tomorrow, we'll have a further breakdown of where some of these guys are headed in the minor leagues, and also take a look at what Kevin Biggio is doing in camp and how it might translate to the big league level. We'll talk about that tomorrow, but until then, you take it easy, Kansas City.